News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Monica Ricks. And that's your closing bell on Wall Street. The Dow adding 238 points, about 0.5%. NASDAQ lost 63 points, down about 1/3 of a percentage point. S&P ended the day flat. 10-year Treasury yield at 4.1%, the 2-year yield at 3.5%. And we'll get more on the economy and the latest on the government shutdown coming up. But first, this is breaking news. Hamas says it's agreed to release all Israeli hostages, both alive and deceased, in response to a peace plan from the White House to end the ongoing conflict in Gaza. The terror group affirming it's ready to engage with mediators on terms of that exchange. But it's important to note that Hamas only agreed to some of President Trump's terms. It did not comment on a proposed ceasefire. It says a peace plan will be discussed within a comprehensive Palestinian framework, which they plan to participate and contribute to with full responsibility. The other big story we're following today is the government shutdown. Democrats standing strong on health care subsidies, voting down yet another attempt to pass a stopgap bill that would fund the government through mid-November. Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren.
I'm confident that it is a righteous fight to keep health care premiums from going up for tens of millions of families. The Republicans would rather shut down government than actually help families afford their health care.
That's Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren. Republican Majority Leader John Thune says his party will continue an across-the-aisle appeal to end the shutdown.
Hopefully over the weekend they'll have a chance to think about it, and maybe some of these conversations start to result in something.
Democrats have vowed to continue blocking a House-passed bill that would reopen the government without any assurances that these health care tax credits from the Affordable Care Act will be extended. They're set to expire at the end of the year. Employment numbers were MIA today as this shutdown drags on. We get more on that from Bloomberg's Mike McKee.
The government remains closed. Nobody's home at the Labor Department. And so we don't get the September employment report, at least not today. The hope is the jobs numbers and CPI in 2 weeks will be out sometime before the Fed meets on October 29th.
We know the U.S. service sector stalled in September as business activity shrank for the first time since the pandemic and orders barely expanded. Sean Diddy Combs is expected to speak at a sentencing hearing that's underway now in New York, stemming from his prostitution-related conviction. He's already submitted a lengthy letter to the judge admitting to charges and apologizing for the hurt and pain it's caused to victims. 6 of his 7 children joined defense attorneys today, urging for leniency from the court. They're hoping for time served. Prosecutors are pushing for 11 years in prison. China's pushing the Trump administration to roll back national security restrictions on Chinese deals in the U.S. They want lower tariffs on imported inputs used by Chinese factories built in the U.S. It also wants the Trump administration to officially declare that it opposes Taiwan's independence. China's dangling the prospect of a massive investment. The size of it is unclear, but $1 trillion figure was floated earlier this year. Earlier today, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent predicted a pretty big breakthrough in the next round of talks with China when it comes to Chinese purchases of soybeans.
As I lead the trade negotiations for the U.S. with my counterpart on the Chinese side, the Vice Premier, what gives us great comfort is the respect that the two leaders have for each other.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent on CNBC. He says upcoming negotiations will happen before their trade truce expires on November 10th. President Trump expected to announce aid to soybean farmers next week. The White House is cutting off infrastructure funding to another big city. First, canceling $18 billion for projects in New York to pressure Democrats to end the shutdown. And now the White House is withholding another $2 billion for approved rail projects in Chicago. Budget Director Russ Vought writing on social media, it's to, quote, ensure funding is not flowing via race-based contracting. It's also considering action now against Portland. Taylor Swift's latest album, The Life of a Showgirl, is already racking up millions of music streams. The album now accounts for 9 of the top 10 most listened to tracks on Apple Music. And this song, The Fate of Ophelia, is among Amazon Music's top 10. Millions are also watching on YouTube, and thousands are expected to flock to select AMC theaters. They're showing special release party screenings through the weekend. That's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Monica Ricks, and this is Bloomberg.